What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Joannis or Joe Hatagwa. I'm a Sierra Leonean American living here in Accra, Ghana. And if you want to know everything it takes to move to Ghana, then this is the video for you. All right. We are live. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. I do have two very special guests joining us today, but I want to give it some time for some people to join and a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. So go ahead and start adding your questions to the in your comments, and we will start answering them. But before I do, let's start with some housekeeping. So first things first, I think this is my second week back from Egypt, and I'm still getting back on track. I think last Monday I had been back for like a day. And so I randomly just did a live with no rhyme or reason. It was a really good conversation. But today we actually have a topic. We're going to talk about what it is like to move to Ghana, ask your frequently asked questions, questions that I've received, questions that our guests have received, questions that I know that you all have about moving to Ghana. So we're going to answer those questions and more. And of course, as you know, it's that time of year where people are coming to Ghana and visiting. So your questions don't necessarily have to be about moving to Ghana. It can be about visiting Ghana as well. Our guest today, GhanaBound, both of them are really knowledgeable, and they've been here for quite some time, and they consult others on how to move. So we'll talk to them in just a moment. But before we do, as I usually do, let me pull up our presentation. I'll share that with you really quickly before we get into the live. Give some time for people to join. Start adding your questions to the comments, guys, though, because this is going to be, we want to make sure we help as many people who are planning to move make the decision, and the information here is going to be invaluable. So let's start by sharing. First of all, let me know in the comments if you guys can hear me. If you guys can hear me, let me know in the comments. Give me a thumbs up on Instagram, on YouTube. Let me know if you can hear me. Shout out to Destination Africa in the building. I see you guys here. Thanks for joining. All right, let me know if you guys can hear me. Give me a thumbs up in the comments, whether you're on Instagram or if you're on YouTube. Let me know if you can hear me and if I'm coming through clearly. All right, so while I'm waiting to hear back from you guys, I'm going to assume that you guys can hear me. Hopefully you can. Everything looks like it's working on my end. All right, cool. So real quick, as you guys know, I do 3 videos a week. I do live every Monday at 9 p.m. GMT, which is where we are right now. I do videos on Wednesdays, and I do videos on Saturdays. So there's a couple questions already coming in, which is great. So Kwame, will get to you. Jose Cruz, will get to you in a second. Yes, and you guys can hear me, so this is great. So I love it. Keep the questions coming, guys. We got some time here, and I want to make sure we answer all your questions. All right, cool. So really quickly, let me get back into the presentation. So my dates and times are Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, tentatively, because as you guys know, my schedule is crazy. My day job is takes up a lot of time. And so sometimes it's a little challenging to get the videos out on the same date and the same time every week. But you know I'm doing my best to get you guys these videos. So number one, Mondays is the live, as I mentioned. Wednesday is my weekly update, what the last week has been like. And then Saturday is an interview with someone interesting who's either decided to move or has started a business here, or it is one of my adventures, going to a slave castle, going to restaurants, going to different historical sites. All those kinds of things are the things that I share on those Saturday videos. So just make sure you stay up to date, like, comment, share, subscribe, turn on post notifications so that you know every time a new video comes out, and don't forget to comment as well. So real quick, don't forget, Authentic African, all products made by Africans on the continent of Africa, sold in the US. So if you want hampers, baskets, shea butter, collectibles, soaps, handbags, sculptures, everything made on the continent of Africa, I sell it on AuthenticAfrican.com. So check it out if you need anything made in Africa. And by the way, a portion of the proceeds do go to feeding homeless children here in Ghana, and then also an orphanage, rainy season orphanage in Sierra Leone. Okay, so let's get into it. So my guests today are the two parts of GhanaBound, and I'm going to bring them on to introduce themselves here in a second. Let me just remove this. Yeah, so I'm going to bring them on to introduce themselves, and let's just jump right into the content. So, first of all, can you guys hear me?
Hi.
Hi.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey guys, thanks so much for doing this. I know I asked like yesterday, right? So the fact that you guys are able to come on board and do this today, I really appreciate it. Um, well, can we do a quick introductions? I'd like to let you guys introduce yourselves to the group.
Okay, cool. So I'm Yaba.
I'm Sam, and we're GhanaBound. That's the intro, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And we met at Water Maya's Meet and Create event. And each of you got up and spoke a little bit about your story and what you're doing with your channel, your YouTube channel. And I thought it was really fascinating to just hear the passion in your voices and what you're about. Can you talk a little bit about what Ghana Bound is, the YouTube channel, and beyond the YouTube channel?
Oh, okay. So GhanaBound, we started as a family diary, and we wanted to document, our little transition over with our children. And then we also realized that a lot of people needed information about moving because we did, and we stalked YouTube when we first started deciding to move. So we thought, why not, give out information as we're learning things along the way, and that's how the channel's really evolved.
Nice, nice. And I know we talked about this a little bit, but you've now gone beyond the channel, right? And you now have a physical business, right, around GhanaBound. Can you talk about that a little bit, the consultancy?
Yeah, we just put together our consultancy because it takes a lot of planning to get it right, to move over from the West back to Ghana. And there's just so many things that you'll find you'll need help with, from what apps work out here to, big things like identity cards or do I need a residence permit? And as we were going along our journey, we was just getting asked all these questions. So we put together a consultancy, and yeah, we'll help you through, answer as many questions as can.
Yeah.
And even for the area that you want to go to, we can try and get as much information on what's specific for you and your needs. So yeah, we put that together, GhanaBound.com.
Nice, nice. Okay, cool. And so today I wanted to have you guys here to answer anybody's questions about moving to Ghana, and also, of course, questions that you guys get frequently asked. And there are a lot of questions that come up, and we already have some in the comments here already. And I just thought it'd be good to have your perspective as a married couple with children living in Ghana. I think it's always good to have that different perspective. I'm a single guy. I came alone, so my perspective is a little bit different. And so I think our answers to some of these questions might be different. They might be the same, they might be different. So with that, I wanted to just start jumping right into the questions that I had, just so people get a chance to know a little bit more about you. How long have you two been here in Ghana?
Total now of, I think we're coming up to 10 months.
So 10 months. So that was what, December or January? January?
January, yeah.
January, yeah.
January.
That was the big move date. So we've been coming and going for years beforehand, but the big move was last year, January.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Right
did you just move all at once? How did you do it? Like how did you bring your stuff here? How did you bring yourselves here? Was it all at once or was it in parts? How did you do it?
Okay, so we came across as a family.
Okay.
We decided to do door-to-door shipping. So
Okay.
our goods left just before us. So as we came in, we pretty much joined our goods as we got into Ghana.
Give or take a couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks. There was a couple of weeks within it, So we got here. Then we got here with the basic and essentials, everything that you have in your suitcases, and then the rest of the house followed a couple of weeks after.
One major factor as well, when we decided, okay, Ghana was actually a viable option for us to live here, we took different kinds of trips to Ghana. So before it was holiday, it was family, or there was an event. Then we started taking, okay, a trip that looked at schools, a trip that looked at if we're going to live somewhere, what are our options for where we're going to live. And then Sam came out before us, before me and the kids, in December before we moved. And he came and prepared a load of stuff, like the house we were going to stay in, making sure that we had a clinic, a hospital clinic that was nearby. Those sort of things he put in place before me and the kids then, as a family, we then moved over.
Okay, nice. All right, so really quickly, I just want to shout out a couple people who joined. Those folks who are always on, Mr. Bounce Los Angeles. Shout out to you. I see Jose Cruz. I see Destination Africa. I see Cali Cow. What's going on? The tribe is all here. Okay, so so I'd love to start jumping into some of the questions that I think that you guys get the most, right? So I know I get like three main questions I get all the time, but I'm interested to hear what questions you guys get. What are like the three most common questions you get, and of course the answers to those questions about your move?
Sure. So number one is money. Money. People always, how can they move to Ghana if they've got a job somewhere else? How can they come here and then sustain themselves? So I think we've done a big on that as well. But it's like the main answer is creating passive incomes. Many of us who've come at this COVID time, our jobs went online. So we came at a position where we were able to move and stay online. So, but we also made sure that our previous work became passive. So we established a manager, for example, instead of us doing it, the manager is managing our team. We're directors of a fitness company, so we have personal trainers who work for us. So we established management to manage them while we were in Ghana. We also then trained our clients online. So that was an example of one of the ways that you can, how we did it.
Yeah. Second question, or second of top three, is always why? Why are you going? Why would you move to Africa? And for us, it was real simple, down to the children and quality of life. For Yaba puts it in one of our videos that it seemed that where we were was toxic to us. It was toxic soil. So you can't expect to grow anything in toxic soil. And it's pretty much stacked against young people of our hue in the UK. And we made the decision to take our little saplings and grow them in good soil. And what we mean by good soil is there's a family network around here that's still strong. And the images that they're getting bombarded with daily are completely different. They can see themselves represented in everything. Lawyers, doctors, that people are doing well around them, that's part of their family. This is all very important, not feeling the odd one out or the only black person in the village. It's very important for their self-confidence. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, the idea of representation matters, right? That's something that you hear a lot in the US. I don't know how much you heard it in the UK, but representation matters. And there's no shortage of it, right? Everywhere you turn, you're represented in every line of work because we're the majority, not the minority. So
exactly.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. Definitely.
Cool. Yeah. So the third one that we ask a lot is, I think about, well, there's schools and then there's where to live, isn't there?
Yeah, the cost of living.
The cost of living. Yeah, so all of those collectively, the cost of living is a big one. Of course, it's relative, so there's no perfect answer on exactly how much. I mean, we can give you guys a general idea of how much we as a family of four would spend on electric or internet. But yeah, that's why we had to come and do some research before we came to move to Ghana to see how much things cost. Like internet, for example, here is expensive.
The cost of data, yeah.
Hey, data. So for example, I don't know how much megabytes of stuff we get, but all I know is it costs 500 Ghana cedis a month, which is like, let's say, I know pounds, 60 pounds, something like that.
So that's 6 gigs.
6 gigabytes of data for 60 pounds. And I've got to translate that to dollars for you guys as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, what you say, 500 Ghana cedis? That's, I mean, so 600 Ghana cedis is $100, right? So it's like $80 to $90 in dollars. Yeah, Yeah, data. So data is not unlimited here, like it is in the
No.
U.S., and I'm sure it's unlimited in the U.K., right? And it's
Yeah.
not here. So you're paying for the data you use, and data is expensive. Yeah, I'm with you. I spent
And,
about the
and
same amount.
and
Go
that's
ahead.
outside the data that you use with your phone. So you can't
Exactly.
walk around with your iPhone doing everything, updating everything in the background. You'll burn through cities like fresh air. You have to turn all of that stuff off, or even put it on airplane mode and turn it on when it's needed. So you'll have the house internet. If you're lucky, you get a good broadband fiber, even a fiber connection.
Yeah.
But you'll always need data for your cell phone,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
none of it's
Yeah.
unlimited.
All good points. All good points. So that's something you got to get used to, guys. If you're thinking about moving here, the things that you're used to in terms of there are unlimited plans, but they're much more expensive. I was spending about $60 a month on internet for most of my adult life, right? Because I paid the same package pretty much every year and no matter where I lived, LA, New York, whatever, it was the same price. I'm spending more than that here because on my home internet it's like 60 to $80, but then I also have, like you said, the data on the phone, and then I also have a MiFi as well, which I'm charging
Yeah,
at the same time in case my home internet goes down. I have this MiFi
you got the
that's
backup.
charging
Yeah,
right now. So yeah, you
yeah,
have to have backups and backups, right?
yeah,
Yes.
Okay,
100%.
cool. So
Yeah.
there were a couple questions that came up along the way. Let me just say hi to everyone really quickly. A couple people have said hi. So Kwame, I think this is Kwame's first time commenting. So shout out to Kwame. Thanks for joining. Jose Cruz had a question, and his question was, how much USD should you have in cash? That's a tough one.
Well, when you fly in, on your form that you'll be filling, um, the government needs to know if you're carrying more than $10,000. Yeah, and you need to declare that. Yeah. Recently, though, I've just got back literally yesterday. I had to fly over and come back, and the form seems to have changed where they want to know any amount of cash that you have on you. But as far as
Mm,
I know, to date, unless they've changed it really recently, in hard cash, I don't think you should carry more than 10,000. If you are, you have to declare it anyway. So
good
I hope
points.
that's answering the question. But he says, how much should you have in cash? Is that just to live, or what exactly does he mean?
I'm guessing he means like spending money, like walking around in your pocket.
It, it depends what you've come to do. If you've come to ball out of control, 10 grand's not going to last if you're going crazy. If that's if you've come for the Christmas 3 weeks and you want the best of the best, yeah, you'll get through that money.
Ghana's a really cash country. You
Yeah.
have to have cash on you pretty much all the time. Now that we've got mobile money, it's eased that pressure off a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm finding I'm having to go to the ATM all the time, so there is a cash necessity. So
Yeah.
that is a shift of habit to have as well.
But you can cut your cloth to your coat to your cloth here. It depends what you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's
I would
comfortable for you.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. It's going to vary depending on the individual. But if you're someone with modest means, I would say at least $200 at all times. That can go within a week or two because you're going to need it for Uber. If you have
Yes.
a Uber, if you have your card for Uber, a lot of people will cancel. So you want to have cash to pay for your Ubers. That's an experience that I've had. And like
Yeah.
um, these two just said, like if you decide that you want to um, go out anywhere, most places they take cash. Some do take cards as well. Um, but yeah, you just want to have cash. So I do about $200 worth of cash, which is 2 times 6 is like 1,200 Ghana cedis or so.
Okay.
I try to keep about that amount, but it goes fast. Like, $400 for my electricity bill every 2 weeks, and 400,
Yeah.
400 Ghana cedis for my electricity bill every 2 weeks.
Yep.
Or,
Yeah.
my once a month I have to pay my housekeeper, right? So I think it just depends
Yep.
on you, but that'd be my recommendation. At least 200. Just no matter what happens, you have enough to be able to get in and out of anywhere you need to.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
One thing about your Uber account, when you do get here, change your number on your Uber account to your local number. Otherwise, you'll get people cancelling just because they won't phone you to check where you're going.
That's a good point. Do we want to talk about that? Do we want to talk about changing to a local number and how you do that? Because that's a question that when I first got here, I was using my US phone number, and it was challenging because my US phone didn't really have any good signal, and I couldn't make any local phone calls, and not everybody's on WhatsApp, right? Some people have local phone numbers and aren't using WhatsApp. Some people use feature phones and not smartphones. So can we talk about that? How do you go about getting a phone or getting a local phone number here?
So it's all about SIM cards over here. So you can if you're a tourist, you can come out and literally at the airport, you turn left and there's a shop there that will happily ask you for your passport and register your SIM card against that passport. You will need a form of ID to do that.
And please bear in mind that to register your numbers now in Ghana, you have to, no, you don't have to have a Ghana card?
Not as a tourist, they'll use your passport.
Oh, okay, so tourists don't have to.
Yeah, so as a tourist, they'll use your passport and register that SIM. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I end up doing.
For like 3 months or something.
Yeah, and I think what you have to do is decide how much data you're going to need, because you're gonna be using your phone as a hotspot, right? The whole time you're here. Yeah. So I watch a lot of YouTube videos, obviously. And I also upload a lot to YouTube. So for me, in terms of gigabytes, I'm always thinking about how can I get over 50 gigs for any extended period of time, because I don't want it to run out at the most inopportune time, right? So, but that's a heavy user, a single person heavy user. I don't know what it is for you guys, because you're what, 4-person household? How many of you are there?
There's 4 of us. The 2 kids are constantly streaming all their content. Right. Yeah, we're streaming everything most of the day, and we consider ourselves heavy users. I mean, we're stream heavy. I think we don't get much change out of 6 gigs a month, but then that is the 6 gigs at home. That's not the other stuff that I couldn't really quantify right now, how much you really spend on mobile data.
Yeah, so yeah, I would say, and it depends on what company you go with, right? So certain companies here do a pay-as-you-go for data and voice and text. Some do monthly subscription plans. So if you're not going to be here that long, maybe you want to look for like MTN. You can just buy a certain amount of data. But yeah, just keep it in mind that, if you're going to want to go on, I mean, everybody's going to want to do Instagram stories and all that kind of stuff, TikToks, Snapchat. And that's going to all be data. So if you want to do all of that while you're here, make sure you get a local SIM. It helps you out in so many different ways. First of all, the internet's huge. And then secondly, like you mentioned, being able to talk to people when they're lost, trying to find you. Your Uber driver is trying to find you. It says they're 1 minute away, but you don't see them outside, or it says they've arrived at your location and you don't see them when you step outside, and you're going to need to call them, or they're going to need to call you. And you need to have a local number. So, okay. All good points. So just really quickly, there's a few people that were just saying hi that we're getting around to. Kwame said hi, he could hear me. So I guess Kwame came from you guys, because he's saying he hopes you guys are both well.
Thank you. Hope you are.
You'll have to let us know, Kwame. Mr. Bounce is streaming on 2 platforms. I like this guy. He's on YouTube and Instagram. Okay. 2 different devices. Mr. Bounce Los Angeles. Nice. Shout out to you. Royalty says, Royalty's saying what's up to Mr. Bounce Los Angeles. Precious Hannah's here. What's up?
Hi.
What's up, Hannah? I met Precious on was it Saturday? My days are all blowing together. Was it Saturday, Eva?
Yeah, Saturday.
So yeah, we did some content together. myself, Precious, and Yaba did 3 videos on Saturday. So a lot of content was shot, lots of great conversations. You guys will find those conversations really interesting, really, really interesting. We got deep, but it was good. It was really good stuff. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you all. Okay, Packburst says so nice. Okay, okay. So I don't see any more questions from you guys. I got some questions though, so I'm gonna give you guys some time to come up with some questions for Sam and Yaba. But my next question was around um, places to live. You know, this is a question I get a lot, right? What area of town should I live in? Actually, a coworker just moved from India, and she just asked me this question today. So it's a question that comes up all the time. How would you guys answer that question if someone's asking where should they live in Accra or in Ghana?
Okay, well, for us, we're thinking obviously from a family point of view, and there's a few points that I always put first. So, am I within 30 minutes of a very good hospital or clinic? Am I close to the school that I want my children to go to? Is the road links to all of these things good? How close is family? So, if those are the things that will then decide what area, or we'll count out areas straight away. If they're not close enough to health facility, if they're not close enough to family for our network and support, and if they're not, the biggest one is the school, because the traffic is nothing to be sniffed at here. And sending kids tired to school was not what we wanted to do. So that was very important. Again, healthcare, police, fire service. If you can get them in and around close to you, you're onto a winner. Whereas a single man may just want to be in the heart of everything, not too far from bars, clubs, restaurants, or work. So it's across where everything is, but then you've got to know your why. And that's the root of the whole move for us, the why. Why did we want to come? And then everything made sense after that.
Very well said. So with that, I mean, you mentioned that Sam, you came ahead of time to look for all these things first. So I guess that's a piece of advice that you would give, right? Is to, at least if you're coming, do that first, right? Whether you move here and you're doing that, or you should probably come visit and do that first, right? I mean, how long were you here working to set all that up before everyone else came?
Say that again, please.
How long were you here doing that research before the rest of the family came to determine where you wanted to live?
Well, that's over about 4 trips to Ghana.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, that we came.
You came. How long were you here when you prepared stuff for us?
Oh, but we'd already known by then. Yeah, in December. You were here for about a month. I was here for about a month, but by then we pretty much knew where we would be.
Okay.
And we were lucky in that respect, where we were in the capital, ticked off all those boxes. So then over that month, I strengthened up the network and people that I had met in previous trips for the support team around us when we got here. So things like good mechanics, you know, the little things that are really important that can be.
So over 4 trips, you learned about where hospitals were, schools were, all the different things that you wanted, and what neighborhood you wanted to live in. How long were each of those trips while you were doing that research?
I don't think any of them were shorter than 3 weeks. I don't think any of them were short 3 weeks. It would have been 3 weeks at a time, maybe. I had some projects to do, so I was here for, how long was I?
3 months.
3 months was another one. That was a real good one. That one, I had to do a lot of business here, and that really soaked me in to the experience of not being on holiday here, but actively working and what the challenges are. That was a real good 3 months. Yeah. And then the rest of them would not be anything shorter than 3 weeks. No way.
Okay. So that's a lot to consider, right? With a family. For me, as a single guy, I came without doing any of that. And I stayed in Airbnbs for 2 months. But through those 2 months, I started looking into different apartments. I looked at a lot of apartments and ended up just moving next door to some friends of mine who knew they knew the management, and they had already been living here a couple of years. So that was how I ended up moving where I was. But I didn't take any of that into consideration. I was just like, what's the easiest for me? I was looking at price, and I'm kind of in a central location, so I'm 15 minutes from the airport, 30 or so minutes from work, in a few of my favorite places. So all of that pretty much worked out. So yeah, I guess it depends on who you are and what your goals are and your why, as you mentioned, right? That determines, I guess, how you decide where you live.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. We got some other questions. Kimberly says, even though internet is expensive, do you?
I know that dumb.
Oh, you guys
Sorry,
know
go
them.
ahead. Oh yeah.
No. Okay. Kimberly says, even though internet is expensive, do you find it profitable to make YouTube videos? You guys answer that first. I haven't answered, but you guys answer that first.
Is it profitable to make YouTube videos? We are not doing it. We are not currently doing YouTube for the cash.
It's not, let's just say it's not balancing itself
It's not
out.
quite balanced yet.
not yet. It's not if we're talking about the internet alone.
Yeah. No, right now we're doing it because we're
For
actually
the joy.
we're actually enjoying doing it and sharing the information. I know that sounds corny, but it's actually the truth at this stage. If it gets big enough to substantially help, great, fantastic. We're doing this anyway. And the first part of doing this was to document it for our kids, which we're still doing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I guess my answer to that is pretty much the same. I mean, for right now, it's just offering information and offering value. For me, my YouTube channel was more about offering value, but also building my profile on the continent. I had a pretty big network in the US, but didn't have much of a network here on the continent. And so this was just a way to help me do that, while offering value to people at the same time. But like YouTube, in the beginning, you definitely don't get into YouTube for the money. You have to be passionate about something, because it takes a while before it starts making you enough to cover even the expenses of doing it, right? So I think that's just the reality of it. For those of you who are out there looking to start a YouTube channel, it's not like you start and you make money right away. I mean, I was fortunate enough to hit the partner program within 4 months. But in the 5 months since then, the amount that I've made has not made up for the cost of the internet and the time and cost for paying for different places, Ubers. Yeah, exactly. So it's you're doing it for the passion. You're not doing it for the money in the beginning, for sure.
Literally, getting monetized is the absolute start of the journey. You're not there just because you're monetized. You get money. You're looking at those. I can move forward now.
You're looking at those numbers, right? And you're like, okay, I got to get to 4,000 watch hours, 1,000 subscribers, right? And then you hit it, and then you get your first, like, your monetization number. You see it there at your homepage in your YouTube studio, and you're like, oh, okay. So I got another couple more of these kinds of cycles, maybe another year or so before it starts making an impact. Yes. We as content creators always talk about this, especially when you're at the stage that we are, where we're still building, right? Okay. So there was another question from Mansa Musa. I love the name. Shout out to you.
Yeah.
If that's your real name, that's really dope. Even if not, it's still a cool name. Obviously we all know who Mansa Musa was. Still to this day, until Jeff Bezos hits that threshold, or Elon Musk does, still the richest person in human history, and was on Earth hundreds of years ago. Okay, so the question Mansa Musa is asking is it true that Accra being expensive? What's your opinion?
Is Accra expensive? Relative to any other city, barring Kumasi? Yes, it is. Because you'll pay less out in the sticks, you will, but that's relative anywhere, isn't it? I mean, in London, it'll be much more expensive than in Halifax. It's just what it is. Everything's centered around Accra, and yeah, it's expensive. Rents are expensive.
Yeah, and I would say, my opinion, I would say, especially when people come here, maybe on their unemployment or don't have a job, right? And you're expecting to come here and not have to spend any money. and you are going to have to spend money, right? But is it
Yeah.
expensive? I've lived in New York and Los Angeles. I have friends that live in San Francisco, and that's expensive, right? If we're talking about expense, and I know London's an expensive
Yeah.
city too. Those are very expensive cities. Accra is
Yeah.
not as expensive as those cities, but
Right.
there are
Yeah.
elements of
Right.
Accra that are at those price points, right? You can find those price points here,
Yeah.
but you can also find more affordable options that are still places you
Yeah.
would want to live. You know, I
Yeah.
spend my rent, I spend for 6 months what I spent 1 month in Los Angeles and in New York, right? So just putting it into perspective, 6 months of my rent here in Accra is the same as 1 month when I was living in New York and
Yeah.
LA.
Wow.
So
Yeah. That that's understandable. Yep. And again, in Ghana or in Accra, if you go to the top end places, you're going to pay top end money. If you want to be like, if you want to be in Manhattan, you're going to pay more, right? In New
exactly.
York. So if you want to come here, we have our version of that. You shouldn't come to Ghana thinking that everything should be cheap. So if you're going to the top end, you're going to pay top end money wherever you are across the world. And the top end in Accra is comparable to anywhere else, I think, pretty much.
And it's all relative
Yeah.
to your lifestyle.
Yeah.
You can buy wache, for example, for 2 cedis,
Yeah.
or you can go to that restaurant. Well, yeah, that restaurant
Yeah,
we
don't
went
name
to.
it. But
I
yeah.
shan't name it. Where there was a steak for 1,000 cedis. 1,000 cedis is someone's monthly wage here in Ghana, and the steak
Yeah.
costs that much. So it's up to you the kind of lifestyle you want to
Yeah,
have as well.
totally. But we
Yep.
found
100%.
as a family, we get, because we have pounds coming in, we get a lot more for our pounds. So the quality of life makes it totally worth it. So we couldn't have what we have here in the UK.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. I mean, you guys have a business in the UK, and the business in the UK is paying you UK wages in
Hmm.
Ghana, right?
Yeah.
I work for a local entity, even though the company I work for has 11 different countries it's focused in on the continent, and then we have people in Portugal and in Dubai. I'm getting paid in local currency and on a local pay scale. And so for me, that means that I have to have my full time job and other revenue streams, right? Or there's just no way I'd be able to cover all of my expenses for my business and be able to live comfortably. So, yeah, I mean, I think if you're living on a local wage, it is a little bit harder to find ways to make it work, right? But you absolutely can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, you just need to scale down on your expenses. That's all.
Yeah.
If that's what you need to do. Okay, cool. So Kwame says if you can come down and check things out beforehand, it's a good. It's good. Okay, it's a good idea.
Yeah,
Definitely. 100%.
that's right.
Okay, so Kwame's asking about learning to speak an African language. I know you two can speak to this a little bit. Um, I guess the question is open ended, but learning to speak an African language. What are your thoughts, and what have you guys done in that arena?
Go on.
So, so I think it's really important, I guess, anywhere you go in the world, to learn some local dialect, especially if you plan to settle there. So for us, it was a priority, mainly because we weren't raised with our language. So neither of us can speak the 3 languages or 4 that we have between us. So we wanted to do it so that our children can learn to speak the language. It also makes a difference because the locals in our community really appreciate the fact that we make the effort, because there are some who actually don't speak great English. So it's good to have a basic understanding of some words or sentences to get by. But it really makes a big difference. People just smile at you. They appreciate the effort.
Yeah. Saying that, if you're real lazy, you'll be in Accra, especially speaking English and never learn a single word, because it is taught at every school. English is the first language here. But the effort is definitely warmly received.
Yes, I would say, and so for, my contribution to this particular question is this: I am a native to Sierra Leone, so that is where I'm focusing my energies first, because as you get older, it is harder to learn languages. And I also did not speak my native languages from Sierra Leone growing up either. And so as an adult, I'm learning to speak Creole, which is similar to the pidgin that they have here and the pidgin in Nigeria, but it's actually a, a language. It's a written and spoken language. It's a recognized language. Many of you guys know that because you've been following, but that's where my focus is. However, I have learned a few small phrases and words in Tree just to like get by. So like Medasi, Aquaba, very basic things like welcome and thank you. These are the things that like sometimes it just helps, right? But I'm also learning their pidgin because our Creole is a little similar to the pidgin. So like I can ingratiate myself with some of the guys here. The women don't speak it as much,
Yeah.
but some of the guys here, I'm learning their pidgin and saying things the way they say. So like we say, if I'm like if your car is here and that you say arekam, right? So we say that in our Creole, and also the pidgin here they say the same thing. So I use that so that I feel like it's a little bit more, like you're more relating to the culture and like where you are. I think it's just important to do that. And so that was the ease. That's my cheat code is the pidgin that I can do because I can pick up on that a lot easier. I hear guys in my office speaking pidgin, and so I hear how they say certain things, and I'm like, okay, that's how they say it. So I'll do it sometimes, a phrase here and there. But yeah, that's what I've done. But I agree. I think if you're moving to someone else's country, you should learn their language.
Yeah. But it's so nice when little things like that happen. I mean, for me, I really love it when you've got something that you thought was just like in your instant was just Creole, and you're like, hold on, I can see it's the same thing here in Ghana. That pidgin, and it's just. I know it sounds silly, but it's like a little gift. You're like, wow, there is a link. It's so clear to see that one is of the other and the other. What do you know what I mean? And then one and the same.
Yeah, and the importance of language for the individual is linked to why you're coming to Africa. I don't want to say just Ghana, to coming back to the continent as a whole, because we felt a huge disconnect from being Ghanaian because of the language. So for us, it's an importance because we want to reconnect to our ancestors, to our what's the word? Our roots,
our culture.
Our culture. Yeah. And language is one of the biggest ways that's been used to separate us. So we want to reconnect. And
for me, the kids are great teachers because they're learning so much. They right? I've learned a lot through my kids and Destination Africa. The songs that they're Destination Africa group.
We recommend them if you want to start learning the language as well, guys. By the way.
Yeah, they got a really good thing going on there. Those guys.
Shout out to them. Yes, I've witnessed it, and I'm very impressed. So yeah, Destination Africa Group. You guys have met them before if you've been on my lives before. They came on and did a live as well. Yeah, all good stuff. Let's see, what else do I have? Okay, so you've spoken on this a bit, but I'd love to maybe talk about your children's experience, right? So part of the reason was to, like you said, plant the seed in fertile soil. I'm trying to remember the metaphor, mixing metaphors, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But how has it been? That was the goal. You've been here 10 months. How has it been since you moved with your kids? How are they adjusting?
It works. They've been replanted and they're blooming.
Their confidence has shot up sky high. To see their energy matched in the playground when they're with other kids is amazing. But the confidence, that one on its own, is just so stark. Their appetite for learning is amazing. Yeah, that's gone up. Like my son, he gets upset when the homework's finished. He just wants to do more and show that he can do more and be the best. He wants to be the best in his class. He wants to, it is real good. There's other bits you need to take responsibility for. So if you've coming back with a Pan-African mindset, you're going to have to take control of that. That isn't here already, or I haven't found that. I had a look for a Pan-African type school, and as yet, I hope someone else knows where there is one. I'd gladly like to go and investigate it more, but you are going to have to take control of that teaching to your kids. because especially in the normal the state system, our kids haven't encountered anything Pan-African yet.
So what are they usually learning? Is it more like the British history, or like what are they getting? What are they what are they getting that you feel that they might be missing in terms of the Pan-Africanism?
The school that we're in is based on the UK syllabus, but it's taught in an older way, an older style, which is very good at getting the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s in, and that's fantastic, and they're great with that. But they are still very young. They are still very young.
Okay.
They'll start them with Ghana starting, you know, the independence, and that seems to be the start. And what we're getting, Kwame Nkrumah, bits of that, but there's nothing going back to the kings and queens that we learned about and stuff like that. And again, they are still very young. I think they might get Yashantua, something like that
they
going.
They get taught the language as well, because it's not an international.
Yeah, so they'll get taught, sorry.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they'll get taught English and another language, or the local language to where your school is. So that's very good as well, yeah. But when we're talking about learning about Mansa Musa, you're not going to get it here. It's not going to happen. You have to take ownership of wanting to fill your child with that type of history.
All good information. Kimberly says, thank you for your answers. I definitely want to share my journey and document it, so I'm going to count that as an added expense. Yes, do that. Count it as an added expense.
Start your channel, Kimberly.
Yeah, don't worry about the gear. Don't worry about having the best lights and all of that lot. Just hit record and post it. They just get better.
Exactly, 100%. We're all still learning. I think, you know, I can say that from both Sam and Yaba, I've gotten different nuggets of information from our different sessions meeting each other. And I've been doing this, I don't know how many months now, and I'm still learning. Like I just learned from Sam when we met how to like brighten your screen when you're shooting video to make it brighter. I was like, I didn't know what that was. I remember seeing the lock on my screen. I'm like, I don't know what that is. So anyway, you will get better over time. Just do it. You know, you don't have to be perfect. You just need to start.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Mansa Musa said the kids will definitely flourish in Ghana. They are not deemed inferior or less than.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Absolutely
right,
agree with
you. Oh, yeah. Book says love to the family. Shout out to you.
Books. Books. Nice one, bro.
I love it. You guys are bringing new people to the channel. All right, Jose Cruz got another question. How have you, or how much do you go into the villages, or are you getting into the habit of traditional African practices?
Good question. This one's definitely for you.
Yeah, so this is the longest I've stayed in the capital. Normally when I come to Ghana, work took me out of the capital, and I love it. Absolutely love it. The learning is great. You're learning on the fly. So unfortunately, I lost my mother, and there's a lot of traditional things that you need to do that will take you to the village anyway. So it's situational with weddings, funerals, and everything in between. You're in there and actually learning on the fly. Yeah. So how much time have I spent? No, we spend a lot of time because our kids are schooled in the city. But yeah, we've been taken out. We've gone out to the villages a lot because that's what tradition expects. And you've got family out in the Winneba side, and so yeah, we've gone.
And also, when a friend of yours loses somebody, for example, like I took the kids to somebody else's. It was like a Thanksgiving service at their village in Ada. So me and the kids went to the village with them, and it was just the most peaceful time I've had so far. I loved it. So yeah, we'll be doing that a lot more.
Yeah, and then as we get out of COVID, there's a lot of festivals that will start happening again, the Homo War Festival and stuff, and we can't wait to go and get involved in it.
Nice, nice. I can say, I mean, from my perspective, I haven't gone much outside of Accra, to be honest with you, here in Ghana. But when I'm in Sierra Leone, I do. So my father lives outside of the capital city. He lives in another large town, but they have a lot more traditional practices there. So I've been to,
Nice.
which I've documented all of it, and will be coming out sometime soon. Editing takes a long time, but
Yeah,
I've gone to some of our traditional ceremonies, like a sarah, for instance, where they sacrifice a lamb. So that was interesting. Going
yeah,
to something like that and just hearing about it, but actually experiencing it on the continent, it's very different for going to
yeah,
like the light version of it in the U.S. It's very different when you're here, right? It's a very different process. So that was all really, really interesting. And you don't really, you don't really know how much culture there is until you do leave the capital city, because the capital city is very industrious. There are people there for work, but when you go to the, it's like when you're in any other country. Like I used to go to boarding school in Pennsylvania, and we had these people that if they hit like a squirrel, like while they were driving, they would eat it, or they would like go hunting for deer, right? And all of us from the
Yeah.
city thought that was crazy. Like you're gonna like the meat that we buy is like in a freeze dried bag in the
yeah,
supermarket, right? It's weird that you go shoot the deer. So it's a completely different experience once you leave the capital city. And I'll say that I've had that experience. It's very similar here, but within Sierra Leone. I haven't done it in Ghana yet. It's on the list. It's on the list. I gotta find time, but and I have to find the proper guide and all of that and where I want to
yeah,
go. But I
yeah,
Lord,
definitely will
too.
be doing it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What's his Bowie says couche, couche. That means like hello, how are you, kind of in
Push.
Creole. So, couche,
Oh,
Kushe.
couche,
Um,
couche.
shout out to you. Um, Kimberly says, I think I really have an advantage because my husband is from Ghana. We have built a house already and are in the process of building a store and 2 Airbnb rooms and also have a 50-acre farmland. Yeah, you guys have a lot. You do have, yes,
Yeah, you've got
a
a
Yeah,
lot
big
going on.
advantage,
yeah.
Kimberly.
Fantastic. That is an awesome ground to start on.
Amazing, guys.
Woo, woo. We're coming to eat mangoes in your farm. I'm inviting by force.
50 acres. That is quite a lot of land. Good for you.
How many acres did they
Yeah,
say?
50 acres, 50
Nice,
acre farmland. Yeah,
nice.
wow.
Farming the
Okay.
way. Farming the way. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Books says, don't forget to like the video. Shout out to you, Books. Thank you for that. Everybody, don't forget to like, comment, share the video. All right, one more from Kimberly. She says, we also found out that when you put your money in treasury bills, the treasure bills, you can earn 12.5% in 3 months. We have plans to grow our own food and raise our own animals along with other businesses. Okay.
Fantastic. You have to document that
Definitely.
journey. Kimberly,
Must
you
do
have
it.
to, please.
We're ready to click the sub button, Kimberly. Come on.
There it is. There it is. You already have a subscriber right there, built-in subscriber base.
The going back to one of the questions that you asked earlier,
Yeah.
a regularly asked question, what business can I do in Ghana? That question
Mm,
always gets asked. What can I do?
it does.
What business should I do? I can honestly say, especially in the capital, pretty much whatever it is you're doing there, if it's a business that you run there, you can run it here, do it well, and you've got a real good chance of making it a success here by offering a really good service. Do it really well, and people will patronize your business.
Nice. That was on my list of questions for sure, because people ask me that all the time. What's the best business, top businesses? Should I try this business? Those are all things that come up. Um, yeah, and I think too, the other thing that I would add to that too is just, do some research too. Like
Yep,
make sure that there is a market for the thing you're doing. But the best part about being here is there's almost no competition with anything. Um,
exactly.
that's huge. I mean, you don't have markets like that really anywhere. And the fact that you can come here, and even if there is some competition, there's so few other people doing it, you can still make a pretty good living with whatever business it is that
Yep,
you do.
yep, and doing it well, and doing it really well, better than just do what it's supposed to do really well,
Right.
and you'll get a real loyal following. Nothing is already completely overtaken. You know, you could start your grocery store and become the next Costco. Still, it's what it can happen here.
100%. All right, Dan Diablo's in the building. Shout out to Dan. Don't cause any trouble today, Dan.
Yeah.
Dan is always causing a little trouble on the lives.
Yeah, go on, Dan. It doesn't phase us. I like his warrior spirit.
Yes. Mansa Musa said, time for the Pan-African school to open. It's a shame that the education system is still so colonized.
Yep.
Kimberly says, thanks so much for the stream. Definitely subscribing, and we'll check out other streams. Love watching these kinds of videos. Thank you, GhanaBound, for all that you have and they've learned a lot from what you guys have done, basically.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you're welcome.
You have learned a lot, she said. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it. The Adapting African Kofi says, greetings, everybody. Greetings.
Hi, Kofi.
YouTube's youngest content creator.
Ghana's youngest content creator. Follow him, guys. Subscribe to the Adapting African Kofi.
Yeah. It's great to see a young person's journey coming back home.
Yeah.
It's really good to follow his journey. He's got a unique style already.
This is the 16-year-old?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, congrats to you, by the way. I've heard all about you. Haven't got a chance to meet you yet. I'm sure I'll meet you sometime soon. I wish at 16 I had that drive to start a YouTube channel, share my story, and do all of that. That's really cool, man. Congrats to you.
Really good kid.
All right. Yeah. You know, and 16 for me was 21 years ago. It's a long time ago when I was 16. To think about it, I just did the math in my head. I was like, wow, it was a long time ago. Boog says, 20 people watching, 11 likes does not add up, family. Let's support. Yes. Thank you, Boog.
Yeah.
Support.
Yeah. Hit that button.
Like, comment, subscribe, support. Yes. All right. Another question. Zen asks, is Accra losing its African identity?
That's interesting because Accra is the capital. So talking about the identity of any country based on its capital?
I don't know. You talk to the elders and they will say, yes, it is. Because of the colonization and there's still lots of things that are still rife here. So there is a prevailing, I'm not saying everybody, but there is a prevailing thing where, you know, the Western stuff is better than the African stuff. Are we losing? We now dress more Western than African on a day-to-day basis in Accra. So we're changing. It's changing. That's what I'd have to say from what the old people have said and what I'm witnessing. There's still a lot there. We're still, as a whole, proudly Ghanaian, but you don't see, apart from on Sundays, you'll see everyone in traditional things going to church and stuff and bits and pieces. But I think, yeah, it's evolving, it's changing. It is. I think so. That's the realest answer I could give.
Yeah, I don't have much to add to that. I think I would agree. If you ask anybody who, like you said, the elders, people who've been around for a while, they say that. I mean, like any major metropolitan that is welcoming to other people, it's going to lose its identity, or its identity is going to change, right? I mean, this is a conversation my friends and I would have about Brooklyn, right? Brooklyn was one thing when we were growing up and either visiting Brooklyn or living in Brooklyn. Brooklyn's a very different thing now, right? Because of gentrification, people moving in, you know, that's just how it happens. So yeah, I mean, I think Accra is going to look very different in 10 years than it did 10 years ago. And that's just the nature of cities expanding and high influx of immigrants and or expats is what I think most people call them here.
Interesting.
So Takesha says, hey family, shout out to you, Takesha. African Excellence Movement says, what are the business opportunities in Ghana?
This is that question again, isn't it?
It is.
There is opportunity in every sector. There is opportunity and space in every sector. If you want to farm, you're going to have space to produce and win. You've got to research anything that you want to do. Okay. I would say processing of food, massive gap there. Logistics, massive gap in logistics. Cold storage. Yeah, the list just goes on and on. There is space in literally every sector for a very well disciplined service provider, or to do well, just to do well. But farming, definitely. Processing of foods and products, definitely, because we have so many harvests of mangoes. You can get a mango, and then 2 weeks after harvest, the price is shot up.
All good stuff. Those are industries I never heard anybody mention. I mean, and it all makes sense, right? I work in a business that's logistics heavy, and I will tell you, supply chain and logistics and all of that is absolutely necessary and is in short supply here. So offering that, I think you'd offer a lot of value. I love the cold storage idea. That's huge because it's hard to come by. All good points. Okay, so the next question they asked was, what are the top 5 things you love most about Ghana, or you love about Ghana? I added first.
Do you do a collective, guys?
Go for it.
Then a collective one.
Yeah.
So for me, it's the climate. The climate gives me instant joy, like instant.
It really does. For me, it was one of our main reasons was reconnecting with family, and you really feel that family and sense of community, because if you want to come here and be on your own and just do everything, it's not going to be a good fit. I heard it said that your neighbor is going to be your fireman. If there's a fire in your house, they're the ones that are going to be helping you put out the fire. Or if they see someone suspicious, they're your police. So you've got to be getting and be part of the community, and that is just a beautiful thing. Again, that is awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Knowing the names of your local storeholders. Auntie, how are you doing?
Yeah.
It's great. I love that. Go on, do another one.
Definitely. The networking. I don't know if that's the same, but like we're very business minded, entrepreneurial, but we're social, and the networking here is so easy. People are always inviting you to things, and they want to show you places, and love that.
Yeah, that returnee group, some call them expats or returnees, is how I like to say. There is a real tribe growing, and supporting each other, and there's a commonality about it, isn't there? Really, you just know you get each other. Why you're here will 9 out of 10 marry up with other people that have returned to stay on the African soil. And that's a real good group to move around and move within. That's so awesome. Family.
Yeah, and then family.
Family, food, weather. Cost of living, I'd say it is expensive, but we get more for our money. You get more for the mileage, and the pace is just slowed down. If you're forced to try and do 3 or 4 things in a day, just try and do one thing well in the day, and you're just forced to chill a bit.
We've got more than 5 reasons.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
We got plenty of reasons.
Yeah, and I agree. I think I would second all of those. The one I love the most is the networking. I think, and people being on the same wavelength. I've never been in a place where almost every person you encounter has a similar belief system, or at least in terms of like they have similar goals, right? I made it a point to everywhere I lived to surround myself with those kinds of people, but there were definitely a lot of people who didn't have that, right? But when you're here, you're meeting all the other returnees or expats, we're all on the same wavelength. The conversations are so much better. Like if we're shooting, I always make sure I allot for time afterwards, because we start having our conversations about life and everything, and you realize that you're there a couple hours longer than you initially anticipated. So I really do love that about being here, is that people are on the same wavelength. Okay, cool. What else do we got here? Okay. African Excellence Movement said, I heard 150,000 tourists are due in Ghana over Christmas. Traffic will be crazy. Yes.
What's the question?
Yes and yes. However, comparatively, I was here in 2019 for the year of return, and that was 500,000. visas were issued, and a lot of them were issued on arrival. So I'm going to say it was between 500,000 and a million people, because there were many people like myself who did not need a visa, right?
Yep.
Because I have a Sierra Leone passport. I came with
Nice.
7 other people who all have Sierra Leone or ECOWAS passports, so we didn't need visas. So
Yep.
it didn't even account for all of us. So that was crazy. This is still going to be a pretty big number compared to last year, but the year of return was the craziest. 500,000.
Big party. Big party.
Yeah.
Massive. The prices go up around that time of year as well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm looking forward to it though. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be here for a few days at the end of the year. I'm still working out the dates, but I'll be here for that.
I mean, I noticed it on my flight, because my flight coming in 2 days ago, it's probably the last of the cheaper flights, and it was packed.
Yeah.
Absolutely packed. You notice through different times of the year, the plane is different. The passengers are different. So
Yeah.
coming back this time of year, it was mainly Ghanaians coming back. At any other part of the year, I will see Chinese, I will see Lebanese, I will see Italians. It's there's a lot of different colors going on coming back to Ghana, and that's for business. It's business.
Yeah.
There's so much going on here. You can find yourself at a table talking about big deals, and you didn't see it coming. The opportunity's here. If you're a problem solver or have a problem-solving mindset, this is the continent for you.
Yes. That is so true. Problem-solving mindset that's a big one. Yes, I agree with that 100%. Oh, my live video just ended on Instagram out of nowhere. So that's okay. We'll keep it going on YouTube. So BW Stems says, "This is the first time seeing your channel. Who are you? What is your background? Why are you in Ghana? How long have you been in Ghana?" I think this is directed towards me, I guess. I'm not sure, but if you stumble across my channel, I can really quickly do it. I'm Joannis or Joe Hatago. I'm a Sierra Leonean American living here in Accra, Ghana. I was born in the U.S., grew up in the U.S. My family's from Sierra Leone. I have dual citizenship. I moved to Ghana because I came here in 2019, fell in love with it, and when I decided I was moving to West Africa, this was the city that I had to that had the most opportunity. The long and short of it. But if you want to know about Sam and Yaba, just check out the beginning of this live where we did intros, so that you can see who they are. In case you're coming from their channel and you already know who they are, because I haven't seen you on my channel, so I presume you're asking me. Okay. Let's see. What else do we have? Okay, so just more questions about and why. Okay, guys, we've been here over an hour, and it's been an hour and 8 minutes. I'd like to give at least one more question relevant to moving the continent that we'll like to answer for the folks before we let Sam and Yaba go. In the meantime, while we are waiting for the last question from the group, give some advice. What advice would you give to anyone planning to move?
This is definitely you.
Oh, okay. I'll happily take
You wrap
it.
up so well.
Yeah, no worries. Advice for anyone moving to Ghana. So once you've made that decision, you want to make sure you've created some kind of network around you, whether it's family. Even if you don't have family, you're not even Ghanaian. If you can have a friend of a friend, anybody to start guiding you around that you can trust, definitely get that in place. Trust is the key. Another thing is have your financial plan set up. So make sure you've got an idea of budget, so you know how much things cost here, and then making sure that you're obviously having enough in to cover that, because struggling here just cannot be an option. It is hard. It is hard if you are struggling financially here. Anything else? Your reason why you want to come back to the continent will get you through some tough times, because they're going to be, wherever you are on this planet, there's going to be challenges. And you know, there's we know a lot of people in the community, and you know, every so often one person will call and say, I'm getting that BA flight back. But
your why, the reason why you decided to come to Ghana or to Sierra Leone, will outweigh that. The pluses that you get versus the negatives that you were living in, or the, how do I call it, the, if you, the toxic situation you were living in now, and the relative fresh air that you're living in now here, it's night and day. But your reason why will keep you on those tough days. It will, yeah. Yeah, it's testing here. It's not all flowers and roses. There are tests there, but the positives totally outweigh the negatives.
And that's why we started our consultancy. That's another tip.
Yeah.
If you just really aren't sure and you don't know anyone who is sure of something here, we set up a consultancy to give you information about schools, moving, shipping, so many topics about moving to Ghana. Just ask, sign up, www.GhanaBound.com, and just ask the questions, okay? We have so many connections now, a huge network of people that can help you. And that's to stop you struggling on your journey here, okay?
Yes, I appreciate all of that. And can you give us your other social while we're at it? So you mentioned www.GhanaBound.com. What are your other social media channels?
It's all GhanaBound. So GhanaBound's the YouTube channel. You can follow our journey and other inspirational people that have moved over, made the move successfully. We have a lot of interviews from other people that have done it, and they're here, and they're part of the circle.
We've got Instagram, which is Ghana.bound. And that's the main one for now.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we got.
Okay, cool. Dan Diablo is trying to ask a question. For whatever reason, I don't see them. Sorry, Dan. I really am not trying to avoid your questions. I only saw that in the building, and then you mentioning that I haven't answered your questions. I don't actually see the question I'm going through. I've been doing that over the last 15 minutes. So if you can just resend your questions in the comments, I'll definitely address them where possible.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I haven't seen his questions. But yeah, resend them. I can't. Well, guys, I mean, I appreciate you guys taking the time. If you want, you can stay on longer. I'm gonna stay on for a little bit longer. I see there's just some more questions. It seemed like there's specifically for me. But I think it might be good for some of the people who are new to the channel, since we haven't got a chance to do that. You guys want to stick around for a bit and get some more questions, or are you guys? Okay.
We're good.
All right, so I'm going to answer these last couple of questions from BW Sampson, and then see if there are any more that come through, see if Dan's questions come through. So BW Sampson was asking, what is the purpose of your channel? What is your day job? Do you live in an African continent? Which country? Okay, so I'll start with the last one. I do live in Ghana. I think I mentioned that already. My day job is I am the head of advertising for Jumia, which is an e-commerce store here on the continent. It's a lot like Amazon. They actually, when they went public, they're publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange. When they went public, that was how they described themselves, the Amazon of Africa. And so I am advertising for Ghana currently. And the purpose of my channel is to share my journey, shed light on interesting African stories, and also document my life for generations to come. Okay, BW also asked, how long have you been coming to Africa? What connection do you have to Ghana and Sierra Leone? Okay, so I've been coming to the continent. The first time I came, I don't remember that trip. Didn't come back again until I was 25 in 2009. And so I came with my parents. I came for a funeral, so it wasn't really a great time, but it was a really game changer for me. It was a life-changing experience. I think I finally had a real why for why I did what I did, and why my goals for the future became about figuring out how to help transform the country in which my parents were from, and help progress forward. So that became like a big deal for me at 25 years old, but I didn't really start coming back again until 2017, and then more regularly 2018, 19, and I moved in 2020. The connection to Ghana is I came for the year of return, and I fell in love with it, and it was the place that I had the most opportunity for me that I had already been to. Sierra Leone, it wasn't ready yet for the career path that I'm choosing and that I'm currently in. But I am Sierra Leonean. Both my parents were born and raised in Sierra Leone. I was born in the United States, but that is my connection. So BW Sampson is asking, are GhanaBound, are you YouTubers Ghanaians? They are Ghanaian, right? You guys are both your parents are both Ghanaian as well?
Yeah, 100%.
Nice, nice. Kwame is asking, have you been to other parts of Ghana? I think you guys answered this a bit, but yes.
Yeah, we've been all over. Northern region, eastern region. Yabba's been up north as well. Yeah, yeah.
My answer to that question is I've been to where is the Aqua Safari?
Yeah.
I've been to Aqua Safari.
Yeah.
Okay, and I've been to Cape Coast. But outside of that, I've been in Accra most of the time.
Yeah, we've been all over. We've been all over.
Nice. So here's a question. It's an interesting question. I don't know if anyone knows the answer to this, but here's an interesting one. So Mansa Musa asked, what are Ghanaians doing about foreigners who are exploiting the locals? That's a very loaded question, and I guess I need an example of what that means. But do you guys, off the top of your head, have examples of what this might mean and thoughts on this?
This is there's so many angles to look at when you answer this question.
Yeah.
I'm not in the know of exactly what the governmental answer is to people coming and exploiting. I know what they have in place. Some of them seem to be useful tools. Some of them maybe not so useful. But I don't know if I'm qualified to answer that question.
And I would say I agree. I don't think I'm qualified to answer that question. Here's what I do know. One thing that has come up a lot in my discussions with people here, people from Nigeria and people from Sierra Leone, is that a lot of business owners don't treat their staff well, right? Foreign business owners, I'm not going to call out a specific culture or country, but they find them across all of West Africa. That's something that seems to be prevalent. And the challenge is when there isn't much job opportunity, you're willing to put up more than you should be willing to put up. And so I've heard a lot about this from I have a caretaker in Sierra Leone, and he has friends who work for other people in grocery stores and things like that. And the way they're treated and publicly shamed is not cool. But I think it takes more people like us coming to the continent and starting businesses and employing people. That's the one way that we can ensure that we can rid ourselves of that is by us taking on the opportunity to employ people. So that's really a big part of what I'm doing is working with startups to try to help them grow so they can employ more people. Good people employing good people and not exploiting other people.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, a couple more, then we can go. Okay, Mariama Forbes, a friend of mine who is from the UK. You know this accent already. You know. So Mariama is asking, is the Ghana couple from the UK originally?
Oh, we what?
Are you guys from the UK originally? Is what she's asking.
Yeah, we were both living in the UK.
Yes. Yes. So Mariama is a Sierra Leonean who grew up in the UK. So that's why I said she knows, because she, of course, can recognize your accent. She's hearing a bit of home. Mariama and I did some content together in Sierra Leone. We'll be doing more soon for sure. I don't know. We have to figure out the timing when we're going to be in the same country, but we'll be doing more. She's documenting her experience being back and forth and moving to Sierra Leone full time, or at least moving to the continent. I don't know if it's going to be Sierra Leone, but she'll be moving to the continent. Okay, Kimberly says that was a powerful tip. You definitely need someone who can navigate the waters for you in Ghana. If you consider trying to do it without paying someone or help, it will cost more. Yes, yeah, I have a caretaker in Sierra Leone, and I have a caretaker who handles like all the basics, and I have another guy who handles like business documentation, bank accounts, all that kind of stuff. And it makes my life so much easier. The problem is I'm not self-sufficient. That's the trade-off, right? Like if somebody was to ask me, how do you start a business, I have to ask him. in Sierra Leone, because he was the one who did it for me. You know, he was like, you know, this is what it cost. He showed me receipts, showed me the what it like.
You've done it a wise way. Otherwise, it can be very stressful to navigate those waters alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even with the building, the same thing. I could have walked into the Lands Commission and sat in front of the complete wrong desk and started the thing off incorrectly. But I had people that were in the business that held my hand through it.
Yeah.
And that's how I've learned and want to share with others. Yeah.
Nice. All right, Mariam has one more comment, and then I think we'll call it a night. Well, comment and then another question after that. So Mariama says, in Ghana, who owns the majority of tourist areas, locals or foreigners? And she says, Wagwan to my UK.
So you're breaking up.
Okay. She said, who owns the majority of tourist areas, the locals or foreigners? Did you catch that?
What areas?
Tourist areas.
Tourist.
Did you say
areas.
forest or tourist area?
Tourist.
Well, most of the land in Ghana is stool land. It's owned by the local stool chieftaincy, the local. Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
Stool.
yeah. I'm just reading the question here to see it. Who owns the majority of the tourist areas, the locals or the foreigners?
So officially, you can't start any business here without partnering with a Ghanaian. That can be stretched and pulled in different directions, I'm told. Yeah, so sometimes it's the tourists that end up owning everything, and the local Ghanaian is just a token. Again, I can only talk about officially because I don't know. Anecdotally, I could say, yeah, it's all stool land, or the Chinese or the Lebanese or whoever it is own everything. I don't really know that, so I can't answer that particular question. I can tell you that the government have put in place this whole not owning land for more than 99 years because there were some stools that owned land that didn't have money and were selling off their land. So now they put that in place for it not to happen, that you can't own land till infinity. How successful and effective that is, I don't know. But I know that that was a tool that was put in place. And I'm sure in the comments, there'll be people that were far more knowledgeable that can tell me if it is working on a political level and a social level, and it has done what it needs to. But investing in these areas is key, and there's a lot of the diaspora. There's a lot of money in the diaspora just waiting there that could come in and invest on the motherland, on this soil, and partner with local Ghanaians or Sierra Leoneans in a meaningful manner. Aside from a lot of these other nationals coming in and doing it for very selfish reasons, like there's whole swathes of the country that is just wrecked by mining, and then the small-time Galamsey guys are getting a hard time, where the big corporations are paying off people. So you hear these things a lot, and I think the best way around this is putting your money where your mouth is. We have a lot. We back so many millions each year to people at home. There's a lot of money, and there's a lot to be shared with the diaspora and everyone at home already. Not one is better than the other, but together we can learn from each other and actually make something happen. But you've got to put your money where your mouth is. You can't sit at a keyboard in the back end of Manhattan complaining about something, and you're not moving and being part of the change. And it's a solution, part of the solution. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. This has been good. And, all the questions are starting to come in now. So real quickly, just a couple more. Let's see if we can get a couple more questions. So Mansa Musa is asking if you guys plan to move back to the UK in the future.
No.
That's simple. Boom. That's it.
Simple.
Mansa Musa is also saying my sound is very bad. Sorry, guys. If my sound is really bad, I apologize. Wolfgang says, Sam, do you have an update on your building project? How do you deal with the land guards?
The land guards for this particular build, it wasn't an issue. On some other bits that we haven't talked about, it has been a bit of an issue, but there is a certain amount of leeway that you're going to have to get into being here and dealing with people. And the hardest bit is picking apart what is actually traditional and what isn't.
Because when the land guard came
Yeah.
to claim some more money, well,
yeah. So we didn't have a land guard issue here as such, but we did have a stool issue. So they wanted a payment that had already been made because we was renovating this place. So we don't traditionally, you wouldn't give a digging right. So we came to arrangement, and it was a cash arrangement, but it wasn't nearly as much as he was thinking or planning or hoping on. And then another department did come back, and they just got chased off because it's enough is enough, and I have to deal with that at a later date. So yeah, I'm not soft pickings, but I do understand that there's leeway that needs to be had in bits and pieces. Yeah. But
I'm not familiar with this concept.
First time they got a nibble, second time they got bitten as well.
So I'm not familiar with this concept of land guards, but I'm gonna have to watch one of your videos to get more about that. I'm sure you mentioned this in one of your building videos, right?
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's been a learning experience.
And that's again because this whole thing is blended. You have the traditional side with the stool, and then you have like the Lands Commission, which is the authority, the governmental, but they both mesh. You have to respect both of them and understand both of them. And in a later date, we're trying to put together a concise list of what you should expect to pay. It's not just as simple as I've bought this land, that's the end of it, I own it. There's a lot that goes on and a lot of people involved in that. And it would, for us from the West coming back, it'd be simple if they just said, this is what you can expect. But when there's so many surprises, it really gets your back up.
Oh, really good insight. Yeah, it is my mic, by the way, so my apologies for the sound. I tried putting my headphones in, it's not helping. But a couple last things. Mariama says, thanks for answering her question. Kimberly says she agrees 100%. My heart is to make sure that people who do a job for me are treated extremely well and paid the way they're paid, that they are treated with the utmost respect and can change the narrative. I like that. The Motherland says, hey, Sam and Yaba.
Hi to the motherland.
Okay, here's a good question. Maybe this is when we can end it on. Wolfgang asks, do locals see you two as Ghanaians or British?
It depends. It depends what's going on and how they're feeling at that moment.
I regularly get told that I'm now a Ghanaian. I'm now Ghanaian because of the efforts I'm making with the language, how I'm here to relate with everybody, not just expats or returnees, but with local. I literally need their help for everything. So I'm reminded constantly that I'm Ghanaian from them. Me, myself, we know we're Ghanaian. We know that we were born in Britain.
Yeah.
But as for the locals, from my experience,
yeah. But then you could go to customs and they say, yeah, I'm a Ghanaian. They say, no, you're British.
That's customs.
Yeah, no, but it depends. You can look in the comments, and if we're talking about something that's controversial, they'll soon tell us, why don't you go back to your own place, your own country? If you don't like it, if you have the audacity to talk about anything controversial on your platform, they'll soon tell you that you're not. So it's mainly been very good, but don't come here thinking that it's coming to America and everyone's, just be smart. Just be smart. Yeah. So that's me. Yaba's got a real thing. She's talking about the real positive side. And there is that. You know, you make the effort and you're welcome. But then if there's anything controversial, sometimes it can come up. That's the truth.
Yeah, I don't have much to add to that. I get a little bit of both in Sierra Leone, but mostly I'm an American for sure. The accent is very clear, so you know, I'm told all the time that I'm American. All right, so just a lot of laughter.
I must say it's not on the whole. It's not a negative thing. Oh, you're an English. You're British. It's not. It doesn't have that edge a lot of the time, but the price will. We always get charged up.
Oh yeah, the price goes up when you're from the West for sure.
Yeah.
Takesha says, "Good job on all the content and the YouTube channels. Thank you for watching and thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it." All right, guys, I think we need to bring this thing to a close. You guys have been on for an hour and 30 minutes. I appreciate your time, Sam and Yaba. Thank you so much for doing this.
On your show.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Of course, of course. I'd love to have you guys back. Guys, if you have more comments, questions, put them in the content. Put it in the comments after this goes live. We'll answer your questions afterwards. After the stream, I guess, gets reposted. And remember to check out Sam and Yaba on at GhanaBound. GhanaBound.com is where you can find their consulting. At GhanaBound on YouTube, Ghana.bound on Instagram. I'm going off memory. It's GhanaBound on everything, right? So, so yes, make sure you check them out. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much, and thanks everybody for watching.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.